How's it going, everybody? So I'm up here at in the shop for my dealership and everything, and I was worried about my car making a knocking noise last night, and I want to show y'all what was doing it. So at first I thought, man, I'm gonna have to mess with the motor because it was knocking. You could hear it pretty bad, but it was intermittent and it really wasn't like a consistent knock noise. So I did some Google searching and talked to my guy that does pretty much all the work to the cars that I don't do. And we came to an agreement that it was the harmonic balancer or dampener or whatever you want to call it. Look at this thing, completely separated. That's what was going on in my engine bay. This was completely separated from the part that was attached to the crankshaft. So what I thought was an engine knock was this. So not every time you hear a noise, it's not always a crazy thing. And of course we went ahead and put a new one on. Right now he's feeding the belt up in there, but it's one of those situations where you don't always think that it's the most crazy negative thing possible. Even he told me whenever I messaged him is to think positive because it could be something not huge, and it ended up being something that was pretty cheap to replace. Now I will end up putting a billet underdrive pulley on the car, but for right now, to be able to get it running and get everything where it needs to be so that I can drive it tonight, I needed to make sure and get that taken off, because the last thing you need is your engine to mess up for something that costs about 60 bucks. And guys, think about things like this whenever you're thinking about, your engine being screwed up because you hear a knocking noise. But alright, so I decided to go ahead and come back to the shop and give you all a close-up of what was actually wrong with the Civic. Now, I know that some of y'all haven't seen the whole shop thing, or probably don't even know that I make knives or anything like that, but this is the shop. Of course, you're only looking at one corner of it, but I wanted to give y'all an actual up-close view of this, and I figured the shop would be the best way to do that. Now, if you remember what I was talking about before, my car was just idling, and I was doing a few things, buttoning a few things up, and I started hearing the tap, 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 and it was coming from the bottom of the engine, and I was thinking, wow, really? Motor's knocking? This sucks. But I started going through process of elimination. Just because your engine's making one particular noise doesn't mean that it's always the worst case scenario. So you start going through the process of elimination. Okay, well, what else could it be? Okay, well, it's not doing it the entire time. It's just intermittent, which typically isn't your motor knock type thing. It can be intermittent here and there, but it wasn't doing everything that you would think of when you think of like your bottom end knocking. So I started investigating, and I was looking down with a flashlight down through my belts, and I could see that on my idler pulley and my tensioner pulley, I was watching that, and I was seeing the belt wobble, and it was wobbling when it was making the knock noise. And I was thinking, maybe there's something else here. So I got on Google, did a bunch of searching on forums, and there's a few people that have said that they were having that noise because of their harmonic balancer or their crankshaft pulley or whatever you want to call it, that it was coming separated, the actual pulley from the rubber puck type balancer that's on there, and that's what was happening to mine. So if you've never actually seen what this looks like, it completely separated. Like, this was not attached to this at all. So this is the part that would
you know, take out some of the vibrations and stuff like that. This is a big rubber, like kind of like a puck type deal, and then the pulley is attached to that. And mine had completely separated. So what was happening is this was spinning true, but this was like off to the side at an angle, and it was hitting the, let's see if you can actually see this. This whole part was hitting the engine. So this was hitting the block right here. So every time it would pop, 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 and that was giving me the knock noise. So I dodged a massive bullet on that because I did not have to rebuild the bottom end of my engine. All I had to do was replace a pulley. And I mean, it is insane that it could be something like that. But typically, you know, you hear that, you take it to a mechanic. Sometimes they give you the worst news possible, hoping that you'll let them rebuild your engine when you don't technically need it. I'm not saying all mechanics do that. There's a lot of mechanics out there that'll say, hey, whoa, 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 it's actually just this. But there are mechanics out there that'll tell you, hey, you need a new engine. And there's a lot of people that fall for that and they get a new engine. So just because your motor's making a noise that you don't like doesn't mean that it's 100% the worst case scenario. Just do a little bit more investigating, because you're probably going to have something like this if you're lucky. Now, I was lucky and this didn't separate completely while my car was going. Now, for a Honda, the belt comes off, doesn't really hurt anything. But if this would have separated completely while I was doing, let's just say, 80 miles an hour on the highway, this would have had all the tension and everything from my belt spinning on it. This would have went everywhere in my engine bay. That could have caused a ton of damage. I mean, this thing weighs about 2.5 pounds by itself. So you can only imagine what something like that would do to your engine bay. It would just wreck stuff. So I lucked out and mine didn't fall off or something like that, and I was able to get it replaced. I didn't go with a lightweight one, like a underdrive or an overdrive pulley or any of those things, one of the lightweight ones. I went with a factory one. I will end up replacing that and going with a lightweight one whenever I do a pulley kit, but for right now, I'm perfectly fine with what I have, and I was able to get it all put together so that I could go to a meet and have some fun, do some pulls, and do a little bit of racing, so we were able to do that. But guys, moral of this story is don't always suspect the worst, because it might be something as simple as a $50 part. Now, would I suggest replacing your belt? Yes. If you got all this stuff off, you might as well replace your belt. So there you go. That's what it was. And I mean, again, look into it. Do some research. Figure those things out before you jump to conclusions and holy crap, my engine's messed up. But guys, that's the end of this one. If y'all would, give this video a thumbs up, share this video, or one of my videos in the past that I've done that might be your favorite. And if you haven't yet, bottom corner, go to that subscribe button so you get notified for knife stuff plus car stuff. Guys, we do have a bunch more car stuff that's going to be happening. I am replacing the clutch on the Civic. We're going to go with a competition clutch, a stage 4, which is what I've read as being the best one for an 8th gen boosted Civic. So that's what we're going with. Hopefully I don't have to end up doing a bunch of stuff to the transmission, but we're going to go ahead, we're going to replace the clutch and see how well that does. It's got a performance clutch in it right now, but it's one of those deals where I don't know what clutch it is, and it's acting up a little bit. I think one of my springs is messed up, so we're going to go ahead, pull it apart, probably this coming up Friday, and you know, replace the clutch. So there you go, guys. Thank y'all for coming by. Thank y'all for checking this video out. Hopefully it was helpful. Y'all have an amazing day. I'll catch y'all next time.